How's it going, guys? And welcome to another episode of Sip Talk. I'm Pete Sippis. Joining me today, my usual co-host, Alex Sippis, which means the show probably won't be very good. But we also have another great guest joining us, the man behind the music to all of our episodes, one of my good friends from the University of Arizona, Sean McDaniel. Sean, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
All right, let's jump right into it because college football is in shambles. It is slowly been falling apart, but the money grab has been obvious. Conferences say, "Oh, we'll just do only conference play." And then they say, "Oh, we'll just shorten the schedule and we'll do this and we'll do that and we're going to cancel literally every single college sport except for Division I college football." So, as it stands right now, the Big Ten has canceled. The Pac-12 is probably going to cancel. The ACC has said we're definitely having a season, which I don't see at all. The Mountain West has said we're aiming for spring, and for once the Mountain West is actually leading the pack in something, which is, common sense at the moment. Xander, what have your thoughts been on the recent developments in the world of college football, and do you think that they should play?
Did you talk about the Sun Belt yet?
What happened in the Sun Belt? Because
They
unless it involves the Raging Cajuns, then I'm out.
They also want to play football with the SEC. I do not think that they should play football. And the reason behind that is because the NCAA for the last 50 years has died on the hill that these kids are student athletes. They are students first, athletes second. They are amateur. Yada, yada, yada. They can't get paid. Yada, yada, yada. They can't go get a lunch. Yada, yada, yada. They can't get backpacks. They are amateurs. They can't make money. They are everybody else. Okay, NCAA, you have died on that hill. Guess what? You've canceled all your other sports. So now they are not as equal as all of your other sports. So that's a big X against you. Number two, you have schools that are not having university-sponsored travel. They are students. You have died on that hill. You cannot go back now and say, well, football's the exception. If it's not safe to play tennis, if it's not safe to have women's crew, it is certainly not safe to have football. So everyone can see right through that you're just looking for money. But now you're going to put unpaid employees for your school that have already been making you millions of dollars, and now you're putting the responsibility of them to make your university and your city money with no health care, no benefits, just if they get sick, they get sick. They wanted to play. They signed a waiver. School pride, they want to play. Let us play, says Trevor Lawrence. And then Trevor Lawrence has the audacity to say, oh, they're safer here at Clemson than they would be at home. Buddy, you guys still have classes starting September 21st. So you're going to be home for 3 weeks anyway.
The thing that I'm getting really frustrated with is that I totally believe that, let's say, all of the student athletes, all the football players take the right precautions and realize, hey, we want to have a season. Like, we're going to socially distance. We're going to follow all the protocol. I don't trust the coaches because let's not forget that 2 years ago, a University of Maryland football player died, not because of the pandemic, but was pushed too hard in practice and died under the watch of the strength and conditioning coach and that coaching staff. So pre-pandemic, you couldn't trust coaching staffs with the health of players. That's obvious. And now you're saying that during a pandemic, they're suitable to have the players' best health in mind? No, absolutely not. And honestly, I guarantee, and I'm putting this prediction in stone, that if there is a college football season, there is going to be a strength and conditioning coach who goes to Hooters or some restaurant, gets COVID, and infects the team. That is going to happen if there's a football season. I guarantee it. And it's going to be a strength and conditioning coach. Because let's remember that if you thought these football players were meatheads, these coaching staff are all meatheads too. They're such meatheads that after their football career at that school, they had no other skills, so they keep working for that football program.
I just want to say we've seen an example of this already with Colorado State of all schools. I don't see how we can get through a season where stuff like this can happen. Also, I just want to say, do we really trust people like Mike Leach to guide a team safely through a pandemic and have like no outbreaks?
Yeah, well, that's the other huge thing about.
Sean, I did research on pandemics, especially during the Civil War and the pioneers of the 1800s, and it turns out that you could cure the pandemic with a special type of flower native to the Mississippi area. So I think if we all bathe in those special herbs, and I think our team will be fine.
To go off what Sean just said, and like what you said, you have schools like Maryland that were already killing people before a pandemic. You have teams led by like Notre Dame in 2011, Brian Kelly, with no regard to a student, put a student manager up in a hydraulic lift during winds, and the thing fell over and it killed him. You have the Baylor head coach, whose name is escaped, Art Briles, who can burn in hell for covering up rape. You have Penn State covering up sexual assault of children in their locker room for decades. You have Miami covering up Nevin Shapiro. Like, they can't be trusted normally. Now we want to trust them in adequately testing kids and not covering anything up there. These coaches have so much to lose too, because they're getting paid millions of dollars. So if there's not a season, the school can't pay them. So these coaches are like, Harbaugh put out a thing today saying, we want to play. No, you want to play because you get millions of dollars. Like, don't give me that crap. This is not for player safety. This is for money reasons, and that's absolutely ridiculous when, again, the NCAA has already died on that hill.
I find it really just ridiculous that not just in higher education, but everywhere, top executives are taking pay cuts. In higher education, employers are getting furloughed. Top paid employees are taking pay cuts. Some presidents are taking pay cuts. But you're not going to get a college football coach to take a pay cut. All these other coaches are taking pay cuts, but like, you really think Nick Saban's going to take a pay cut so that Alabama can get some money into their school? And let's not forget that these big SEC schools, like, football's their number one priority over anything. Like, yes, like Auburn, 10% of that entire school's revenue comes from football alone, but it's still, a lot of it gets fed back into the program. Like, LSU spent $25 million on a locker room that looks like a spaceship, but they needed $300,000 to renovate their library and said, we just don't have the resources for that. It's like, really? You don't have $300,000 to, fix the library where students study because you are a university, but you have 25 mil to drop on a locker room?
Did you see the University of Georgia, the professor that stood there, whose head was over the protective plexiglass?
Yep.
And the most important thing about that is, did you see the desk that it was on that was probably there during the Civil War? Like, that classroom was a dump.
Yeah, like, it's insane.
The hashtag we want to play, where was this back in April? Like, you're saying hashtag we want to play because, we hear the season might get canceled. It was pretty evident that after March Madness got canceled, if nothing changed, you weren't going to have college football. And guess what? Nothing changed. It wasn't going to magically go away. I was shocked that Louisiana didn't get their shit together after Ed Orgeron's wear a mask PSA. Like, if Louisiana people aren't going to listen to Ed Orgeron, who are they going to listen to? But seriously, if back in April, Trevor Lawrence said, hashtag we want to play, wear a mask, and take this seriously, the South Carolina governor wouldn't have opened up that state. He would have gone, oh, shit. Like, players have, we've seen this all season. Guys like Chuba Hubbard, that, like, players know how much power they have. Players have been uniting in social justice. You had players in the Pac-12 actually making demands. Like, they know how much power they have. If the Georgia football team went out and said back in April and said, hey, we want to play, don't open the state, Governor Kemp would not have opened the state. And if he did, everyone would have gone, Governor, we want our Bulldogs this year. But no, they thought it was magically going to go away. And guess what? It's August. The season's supposed to be in less than a month. And we're still in a global pandemic because this country hasn't done jack shit. And now everyone still expects, well, we still want college football. You don't get it. Okay, everyone sacrificed something. Everyone lose something. I love college football more than anybody, but I understand that this isn't really safe because I cannot stress this enough. It is a global pandemic, and maybe the most contact of sports shouldn't be the one being played.
If you're a college team, you can't bubble. It's not like the NFL, if they wanted to, could bubble. MLB could have bubbled. Like the NBA bubbled, NHL bubbled. Like you can't bubble college football. There are A, way too many teams. B, again, they are student athletes. These are kids. I was thinking about this today. It would be like if I went into my lecture that has 100 people in it. We'll just use 100 for argumentative sake, 100 people on a football team. And then I showed up, and then there's another 100 people. And my professor's like, oh, yeah, these kids are from Florida State. They're just here today. I'd be like, no, we're not doing it. I have no idea who these people are. I don't know where they've been. They're from Florida. They're from the highest infected state right now. This is ridiculous. They're going to sit right next to you. Actually, they're going to breathe on you. No, they won't.
They're going to jump on top of you.
Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you can't I can't stress this enough, is you can't die on the hill that they are the same as students and then treat them differently as students because that's the way that you want them to work this time so you can make money.
I can't believe the ACC is the conference that's like putting their stick in the sand and saying, yeah, we're having football. Boston College isn't going to allow that. You really think that Governor Baker is going to go, yeah, Florida State can come up here. Oh, yeah, BC can go down to Clemson or Atlanta and come back up with no problem. Like, no. Like we were originally supposed to reopen this week, and Governor Baker's like, our cases have gone up a bit again. We're not reopening. And we're slashing the outdoor gathering limit in half. Like the ACC, I mean, granted, they probably don't want BC in that conference, but the ACC is too big of a conference. Sean, before we get to you, we have a surprise guest appearance from Dillon Nageotte.
Oh, shit.
We are admitting Dillon Nageotte here. This is live.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. He's on Dillon Nageotte.
Oh, shit.
Sip Talk exclusive. Our good friend Dillon Nageotte. You heard him on the UFC episode making the surprise guest appearance. Dillon, let me fill you in. We have been ranting against the idea that you can safely have college football. What are your thoughts? I'm really putting it on the spot here, but what do you got?
Don't have the season, man. I even said that for most professional sports. Like, everyone understands the circumstances. You're putting a lot of people at risk. I say just allow 1 year off.
Dillon, have you had your COVID drinks anytime recently?
Dude, you know, they say one is enough after the IG live. So according to the high ups, I'm safe for life.
For those who don't know, Dillon surprised the entire Instagram community by just making horrendous drinks that made me gag just watching it. I couldn't imagine what he was going through.
I mean, you know what? It's a small cost for the cure, and all I'll say is my pharmacy isn't privatized, so that's for the people.
He did what he had to do.
Exactly.
I mean, what can you say? Like, it's for science.
Yes, sir.
Dillon, I have some good news for you.
What's good? Oh, I've heard about Nat, if that's what we're going with. I almost threw a party. I mean, you know, though, to be fair, so I don't know who's listening, but we're talking about the Wayland Fantasy Baseball League. I have plenty of experience beating Nat's ass, so I'll say that, because not once did I lose. He liked to talk a lot of crap. I wasn't in the bottom two. I wasn't in the puff competition, and I beat him every time. So he might be doing bad this year, but I say he was doing bad that year too. So it's kind of just the norm.
Oh, hot takes right out of the gate. Dillon Nageotte is back.
This is what I joined for, just to throw some shade at the dip.
Let's quickly go back to college football. Sean, do you have any more thoughts on the absurdity of a college football season this fall?
I just think it's funny that like these like obsessed college football fans like want college football, and like it's funny that they didn't take the precautions back in March, April, May, like by wearing a mask, staying at home, and now they're getting upset. It's just insane to me. I don't know. This is like, it's a consequence for not following protocol.
Yeah, no, we as a country we don't deserve college football. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't even think that we deserve basketball. The NBA is pulling it off. We certainly still don't deserve baseball because the Cardinals just postponed another series. But I love soccer. So early on, like when the Bundesliga came back, I was watching Bundesliga, then Premier League came back, and I'm watching all the soccer like I usually do. But now I watch it and I'm just like, this must be nice. Like Champions League is back, Europa League is back, and they can have this. Like Atalanta, who play in northern Italy, like that club's location was the epicenter of the pandemic in Italy. It was one of the worst hit regions in the world, and they've got it under control. And Atalanta is playing PSG in the Champions League this week. And let me tell you, I'm rooting for that team so hard because they deserve it. Like that fan base deserves to have their team playing in Champions League because that whole region got their shit together. And guess what? Now Atalanta gets to keep their Champions League hopes alive. But like as a country, we don't deserve to watch our favorite college football team because we've put in little effort. Dillon has put up a piece of paper that said fuck the Astros, and I also agree, fuck the Astros, and fuck their hitting coach too. Can we jump into that real quick? Transition.
Alex Cintron, the pride of the Arizona Diamondbacks in like 2001.
Okay, well, let's hold up there. Also, it's not like I mean the only thing he's done this whole season is try to get fights going because all their best guys are hitting like .77, so 0.77, not .77.
Yeah, it must be really bad for a hitting coach when you see all your stud players playing like absolute garbage. Like it's your job to coach them how to hit.
Yeah, he just was teaching them how to hit a garbage can, so he doesn't know how to do this one anymore.
Now, I don't know if I'm saying this because it's on my fantasy team, but Ramon Laureano, first off, handsome.
What a champ.
Second off, he's not that big, is what I've realized. Like he started running after that hitting coach and just got swarmed by 3 people. And I'm like, oh, he's actually kind of tiny. But I was so pissed watching the video because Alex Cintron, who instigated the fight as the hitting coach, didn't even get into the pile. He just stood there and watched. And it's like, dude, come on. Like, you're just going to, like, get in there. If you're going to instigate something, throw some haymakers.
How many games do you think Joe Kelly's going to get suspended for this?
They're going to go through Joe Kelly's phone and be like, he once sent a Snapchat to Ramon Laureano. 4 more games.
Dude, what's funny is that Laureano was literally telling I forget who the pitcher was, but he was just telling him to snap his wrist because his slider was just drilling him. It drilled him twice. And that was over like a 3-day period. And he had been hit earlier by another pitcher too. He's like, just snap the wrist, man. And then, the hitting coach like, just walk to first or whatever the hell he said. I was like, dude.
He's like, I'm just trying to tell him to snap his wrist.
Yeah, he was like, I'm just telling him it's going too straight. I mean, the pitcher's only been up for like a little while. And he didn't spend that much time in double or triple A. So he was like, I'm just telling him to snap it a little bit. I thought that was the funniest thing that whole fight started over him trying to give him advice.
Aside from the fact that's hilarious that a center fielder is telling a pitcher how to pitch, I have heard, I cannot confirm these reports, but I've heard from other sources and the grapevine that Alex Cintron said something about Mrs. Laureano, Ramon's mother. That's what I've heard. I think that's I think it was more than walk to first base. I think there was something about Ramon's mother, which you don't do. Come on. Don't do that.
As the hitting coach, what kind of beef do you have with him? Also, it's the A's. It's not like the guy's just been hit 3 times in the series. He's allowed to be a little upset. Tell him to snap his wrist. You're really going to pick a fight as the hitting coach? Like, get over yourself, man. Even Astros fans, like, who are, the most defensive people on the planet. I saw some of them in, like, comments of the MLB, like, come on, guys. We're struggling enough this year already. Don't instigate fights. Come on.
Alex Cintron gives all Alexes a bad name.
I don't know. I feel like arrogance, incompetence, annoying kind of runs with the whole Alex vibe.
And Astros.
That's true.
There you go.
Okay, Xander, are you not dating someone from Houston though?
I am.
Guys, we might have a conspiracy theory on our hands.
Is she an Astros fan?
She doesn't like sports.
Okay, see, we're chill. We're chill.
But she can name the entire Celtics team, including Semi Ojeleye.
Okay, before we get back to some sports, I need to address something. For the last week, my brother and co-host Xander has been saying, hey, I want to talk about Americanos on the show. To which I said, like the espresso drink? And he said, yeah. And as a barista, I am very curious to hear his thoughts on the Americano. At first, I thought he didn't know what an Americano was. And that wouldn't shock me. But Xander, I'm going to regret this, but the floor is yours. What do you have to say about the Americano?
The Americano is a racist drink. Let me tell you why. It's basically the Italians telling us, here's a great cup of coffee, the espresso. Now we're just going to pour water in it. We're going to call it the American. That would be like me making a hamburger and then putting a fish on it or something. Be like, this is called the Italian hamburger. It's ridiculous. The Americano, watered down coffee. Ridiculous. How the hell can people order that in good conscience? Like an American being like, I'll have an Americano. Yeah, it's them looking down on you being like, nice crappy cup of coffee that you have.
Have you had an Americano before? It's pretty good.
I've never had an Americano, but I just know that it's a watered down espresso.
It's not okay. First off, coffee is just watered down coffee grinds. Like part of the equation is water. Like that's kind of the whole thing. An espresso machine also involves water. Like an espresso shot is not just like what do you think an espresso shot is? It's watered down, ground like espresso.
So they just add more water.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that the Italians are mocking us.
I don't think they are. I think you're really over the. I think
Why
you
would they
don't.
call it the Americano?
I don't know. I just make them. I didn't name them. I just think that you don't know like what coffee is. like when you go to Starbucks, what do you order?
A grande iced coffee.
Okay. And how do you think that? Would you like to know how the iced coffee is made?
No.
Here's how.
Do you know what ice is, Xander?
Okay, my second topic.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
is-
Fine, we'll bail. As a barista, I have a migraine. What's your second topic?
I recently found out that bees and wasps are not the same thing.
What?
Jesus fucking Christ.
I
I
did not
thought
know
a
that.
wasp was a type of bee, but apparently they're not.
Do you have anything else that I want to know how you found out? Like, did you just have a little like kids biology book going, what? I thought they both went stingy. And one played in the pretty flowers and one didn't.
There was a wasp on our balcony, and I said, Jordan, there's a bee out here. And she said, that's a wasp. And I was like, yeah, I know. She said, why did you call it a bee? I was like, because a wasp's a type of bee. She said, no, it's not. I said, I'm pretty sure it is. And then I said, one of us is going to be really wrong. So then I looked it up, and wasps and hornets are not bees.
Dude, Xander heard about the murder hornet. She's like, man, that's a scary ass bee, huh?
That is what I would have said.
He's like, man, I bet the honey's bomb though.
I didn't think wasps made honey.
So, like, did you think that in the episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie takes the hornet's nest and says, I'm going to smoke out this hornet's nest against honey? Did you think, oh, good idea. This probably has some good honey.
No. I don't think wasps and hornets have honey. What are yellow jackets? Are those bees?
Those are also wasps, mate.
But
They're wasps that want to be bees. I'll give you that
They're
one. I'll
yellow
give you
and
that
black.
one. Yeah. They're like the tactical version of a bee.
So what's a bee? Just a bumblebee?
A bee is the one that
honeybee.
makes honey, mate, and it dies if
A
it stings
honeybee
you.
or a bumblebee?
Those are the only two.
There might be a third. Let me see.
Isn't there something called like a masonry bee or something?
Well, I don't know what the actual, like, I don't know if this is their type, but I know that the ones in Arizona that are definitely not bumblebees, everyone calls them Africanized bees.
Are those big scary? Oh God, this is about to sound so racist. Are those
No,
big scary?
no, it's not that. It's not that. No. Those are different. Those are different.
Okay, hang on. Because in Arizona, there's these big, scary, black hornet-looking things, and as that was coming out of my mouth, I just had to pump the brakes.
Also, another kind, I also don't know if this is what they're actually called, but we have things called sweat bees that are like little gray ones. I don't know if they make honey either, but they like burrow in the ground instead of have hives.
Are those the ones that eat the cicadas?
Maybe, I don't know. I've
one
been
bee that,
stung by
like-
pretty much every type that are here.
So I guess I've never been stung by a hornet or a wasp.
Same, yeah.
Wait, so we were saying yellow jackets are wasps?
Yellow jackets are wasps, yeah.
Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah, I've
Can we-
never had a wasp sting, and those will keep stinging you.
Can we go back to so Dylan, which one are the Africanized bees?
They're like our version of bumblebees in the sense that like they look like a bee, but they're like way thinner. They're not fat and fuzzy. They like, and they'll sting you for no reason. Like they don't even need to be provoked. But they're like our main type of bee here.
Goddamn. So what are like the big scary black ones I see like on campus, and I just beeline sprint because I don't want to go anywhere near those things.
I forget what they're
Beeline or you
called.
wasp?
I forget what I forget what they're called, but as a kid, like growing up here, we never worried about those because I don't know if they just have bad eyesight, if they're entirely blind, but those things will like bump into everything and they don't sting you. They're pretty much chill. So
you're saying I shouldn't run in fear.
yeah, I'm saying that you're actually looking like a big wuss. Yeah, you'll have what Julian did to me, where he freaks out over a bee and then it stings me because I'm still there because I don't freak out.
That sounds like something Julian would do.
It was.
He would just like hurl a soccer ball at it, miss, and then it would sting you.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much his only defense weapon. So,
Xander, how do you like the cicadas in Maryland?
They're loud. Wasn't ready for that.
I don't think
they have slugs here.
I don't think you're ready for anything in Maryland. By the way, my brother's in Maryland for a month for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, he's in Maryland. How you liking MD?
Not bad. We went to Harper's Ferry this weekend in West Virginia. We could not find a parking spot, so we ended up driving about an hour to Harper's Ferry to drive around Harper's Ferry and not park and see anything. I couldn't see my beloved Shenandoah River, which is upsetting. Saw the Potomac, but I didn't get to see the Shenandoah River, which was sad.
Sean, there's two of them.
I know. So that's my first interaction with Xander, and
Same.
it's like you guys are the same people. Like,
There's only one other person that I've ever met who would talk about their beloved river, and that is the other Sippus in the call.
yeah, like I know it's crazy.
These accusations are not false.
Yeah.
I only say beloved because the entire time, I don't know if you guys have seen I Think You Should Leave.
They have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But the entire time I was screaming like I was on the plane. With instead of my beloved Buckingham Palace, it was my beloved Shenandoah River.
What the hell? Oh my god, mate.
Then we ended up driving down these back roads, really narrow, really like scary. And they have all these school buses with like random like river floats on the back of them that like take up the entire thing. So that was kind of scary driving. Ended up some random parking lot with like a boat. What are those called? Like a boat ramp into the Potomac. And just the accents in West Virginia and rural Maryland, they're just not good. So we walked Shipley for a little bit, then we drove back, went to Waffle House. I am telling you, I was almost in tears in Waffle House. Not like laughing, like of just like, oh my God, there's hope for society in this Waffle House. It was in Frederick, Maryland. And I go in, and there's a young black comedian who was telling his life story to like this old white guy with like a Southern accent. and they're bonding over Waffle House, and then they start bonding over Chick-fil-A, and they're laughing how when they went from coleslaw to salad, they're laughing about that. And then some random guy walks in, points to his New York Giants mask, and starts putting up 2 fingers. I look down, realize I'm wearing a Patriots shirt. He's like, "We got you twice." And then I just go right back at him like, "Yeah, I'll take my 6. You can have your 2." Then he starts barking back at me. It was delightful. Oh, the menu was sticky. I felt at home. I feel bad for Jordan, who was sitting in the car. I was almost in tears when I left. Then I talked football with some random guys in the middle of Maryland. Just Waffle House is perfect. I miss Waffle House. I gave him a
House?
$7 tip on a $10 meal.
Waffle House will either bring the best or the worst in people. It like we have been to a Waffle House in South Carolina where I'm really mad we left early because a half hour later, 1990s rapper Juvenile knocked a patron out. And I really wish I was there because, as we know, his hit song was "Back That Ass Up," and I would have absolutely went up to him and said, "Hey, Juvenile," and put out a thing of hash browns and said, "Back that hash up." So then I would have been the one to get my teeth knocked out. But it also brings out the best in people. We've been to plenty of Waffle House, and all my experiences have been delightful. In rural Pennsylvania, had a waitress tell us her life story and sent us her son's like SoundCloud and YouTube page, and this like her son was I guess a rapper who I guess I can describe it as Machine Gun Kelly, but like more Machine Gun Kelly than Machine Gun Kelly, if that makes sense.
This was also my first Waffle House visit, not in the evening or early hours of the morning. Like, it's not my earliest Waffle House visit because that would disqualify any visit after midnight. But yeah, like, I don't think I've ever been there before 10 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things about like, kind of early morning / all day breakfast places is that it's almost a near heaven experience every time because either it's super great or someone pulls a gun on you. So like either way, you're reaching new levels of like, wow, this is what it's gonna be like upstairs. So I think that especially if you go past midnight, that's prime time.
Prime time for Waffle House crime is 2:30 in the morning to about 4:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning is when usually all the clubs close. So that's when you start getting prime time. This is a question for Dillon and Sean on the term of breakfasts in weird hours of the day. Were you guys disgusted just looking at me eating when we would go to the den after football games and stuff with a stack of pancakes and like 3 things of chocolate milk at 10 at night following a football game?
Yes. Yeah, like what an animal. Like just
Here's the thing, Pete. It's only depressing after a win. If we lose, everything's fair game, and we lost a lot.
yeah.
After a win, it's gross. But everything else, I understand.
Well, hang on. No, because after a loss, you want to eat the pain away with pancakes. And on the rare occasions we win, why not celebrate with some pancakes?
No. You're supposed to actually celebrate. You're not supposed to go to the den.
You're supposed to like booze up. Like
Yeah, come
You
on.
you go to U of A, come on.
Jordan had a question for you, Pete.
Yes.
She said, quote, "How do you weigh so much more than your brother when you guys eat the exact same stuff?" So, Peter, how do you weigh 20 pounds less than me?
God has given me a gift, and that gift is a metabolism that's out of this world because let's go to spring break of my sophomore year. And I was staying in Cave Creek with Dillon over here.
Dude, it's Cave Creek. I'm telling you, Arizona brings out the skinny in you.
And I always knew I was a bit of someone who enjoyed the snacks, but it really hit home when we were at one of Dillon's friends' houses playing beer pong or something. And I just finished a thing of Pepperidge Farm cookies. So I finished that And immediately after that, I reached into my drawstring, grabbed another thing of Pepperidge Farm cookies, and started going after that. And then I just hear Dylan's friend, who I've only known for a few hours, go, "Dylan, does this kid just always have snacks on him?"
And the answer is absolutely. I'm like Pete, sophomore year, I had an apartment that was pretty much on campus. He just left snacks at my place. That way he wouldn't have to bring them over anymore. Because it started with him bringing them with him. Then he was like, I'm just going to have some in your cabinet.
He refuses to come to my apartment if I don't have a stocked pantry.
Pete, I gotta admit,
why don't you tell about the first time you came to my new apartment, as you tried to raid my pantry for cookies, or I said you can eat what you want.
Your
but you
pantry was hard to find. It was behind a sliding door.
I live in an 800 square foot apartment, and he couldn't figure out where the food is.
Well, Dylan's apartment was only like 240 square feet, so sorry if I'm used to...
It was a room and a bathroom, and the bathroom was even pretty much not a room. So,
Sean, what were you about to say?
I mean, leaving snacks. That's some galaxy brain shit right there. Like, I gotta give you props. Like, good thinking.
Well, that's the thing. Well, because we would go to CVS, and instead of buying one thing of Brownie Brittle just for the night, I'm like, look, I know I'm going to be back at Dylan's multiple times this week, because we'd always go over to watch Always Sunny or sports or whatever, because nice apartment. And we was like vibing. So I would get 2 things of Brownie Brittle and some Milanos, and I would just have a little stash, like a little pack rat.
Assuming that he didn't finish all of them in that one night and it wasn't just an excuse.
That was always a chance. Yes. My CVS receipts were quite exuberant, especially the one that involved the plunger.
Oh dear God.
Not for me. It was not me.
Yeah.
That was and
not
else.
for anyone that is on this call.
Correct. Dylan, how's your guitar doing?
Well, it's in safe hands now. I thought it was back then too, but I was wrong. It is currently in the other room. I don't have it in here, but it's doing swell. I learned how to play Leaves from the Vine, so I got some Uncle Iroh going on. You know what it is.
Oh, okay. We're about to do a big transition, Xander. I'm sorry, but that's on you for not watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. Dylan, I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender when I was in New Zealand back in February, and then they put it back on Netflix, or they put it on Netflix in the US here since we've been back. So I'm going to start it again, even though I only watched it a few months ago. And now they're adding Legends of Korra on to Netflix. I've never seen Legend of Korra because I was always afraid it was going to ruin the show for me. I don't know if you've seen Korra or not, but I'm genuinely scared to watch that show.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm actually in the same boat as you in the sense that, well, I first watched Avatar when it was coming out. Like my whole family would watch together. We'd record it, and then we'd watch it when I was little. And then I didn't watch it for a long period of time. And when it came out on Netflix, I watched it, and then I rewatched it again like that same week. I just binged it twice in a row. So I've gotten lots of mixed reviews on Korra. People either love it or hate it. I've actually had some people say they like it better than Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I have some people who are like, I despise Korra. It's nothing. It's just like nice to watch because it's well done, but the story isn't great. So it'll be interesting to see. So we should reconvene after it comes out because I think it's only like 5 more days until it's on Netflix. So maybe a couple pods from now we could review it.
Perfect. Yeah, I watched it when it first came out. I watched it in its entirety because they would show like reruns on Nicktoons Network, channel 220, Comcast. And so I think I watched it in its entirety in like 6th grade, watched it in its entirety in 9th grade, and then watched it in its entirety a few months ago. Xander, what's up?
One thing that I've noticed here, Pete, I think our lineup, like the order that the channels were in, I think they were crazy, what we had growing up. Because here in Maryland, it all makes sense. Like every single sports channel is right next to each other. Every single like news channel is right next to each other. It's very weird for me down here because like the channels aren't the same numbers, but it makes so much more sense here. Like Mason 2, ESPN 2, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, all in a line. Makes perfect sense.
So you're saying you don't like what are we talking about, like growing up or like what we currently have?
Even now, like Fox Sports 1's 925 for us, and ESPN's 849. Comedy Central is next to sports channels. Their Comedy Central is next to like TBS.
Okay. In their defense, CBS Sports Network is a comedy channel to sports fans.
I actually agree with Xander though. I had a similar experience growing up. Like I remember flipping from like 5 and then to 10 and then to 12 and then to like 37 and then into the 40. Like the sports were all over the place. But then when I got the apartment, which came with like they just gave you a cable, like it was just like you had like 5 right next to each other that were like, these are your sports channels. If you don't find it on here, it's nowhere.
Okay, so like my channels, like I get ESPN like 210, ESPN News 211, ESPN U 212.
Yeah, we get it. You have
2.
DirecTV. Yes, we know you have DirecTV.
I have Google Fiber.
Oh,
Yeah,
Those are the
Get outta
get
here.
nerd wrecked.
out of here.
So Dylan, I'm actually moving in to your same apartment building. I don't just have a studio; I have a studio large.
Oh, dude. Let's hope you have electricity,
Ballin'.
huh?
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, you had a power outage. Oh, that was bad. So
It was only 5
need to-
days.
You don't need to flex on. You don't need to flex on us like that, Pete. Come on.
Yeah, come on, dude.
oh yeah, I know all
Like-
270 square feet, not 240.
Are you excited for it, Pete? It's been a while for you.
I'm very excited. I'm excited to go back. I'm excited to see you guys, Dylan. I know you're going to come down at some point. I'm excited to see Sean. I feel like we have a lot to catch up on. Yes, hi Sean.
Yes, we do.
I don't know if you guys are going to be prepared for the amount of shenanigans that I'm going to bring, because I'm absolutely half joking, half not going to be the obnoxious coming back from study abroad person, even though I technically came back like 5 months ago.
Oh God.
Just to warn you guys, we were cleaning out my dad's one of like the room that we had at my dad's place, and Pete is putting me on standby for mailing him a cow costume.
I don't
That's the
know.
most Pete thing I've ever heard.
I don't know if there's going to be a basketball season or not, and if there is, it's going to be utterly amazing.
Oh my God. That was.
Has he told you that he went to Chick-fil-A on Cow Appreciation Day dressed in a full chicken costume to get a free sandwich?
Full cow costume.
Oh my God, man.
Do you know what's funny? It's because I had that cow costume lying around earlier that year. Okay, you know what? We'll jump into it. Story of the cow costume. So, sophomore year of high school, you had to write a paper about like something or someone that impacted the world from the year like 1300 to 1800. And I wrote my paper on smallpox. You were then supposed to go to school one day dressed up as that thing. So I went and bought a cow costume because my paper was on smallpox. But here's the best part. My school bus didn't show up that day. So I actually missed school. Xander, you remember this. You were working for the highway department. I biked over and brought you guys sandwiches. And I just skipped school that day. So then I emailed my teacher and said, school bus never showed up. So, and like you had to come in that day to get graded. That was part of your project. And he goes, okay, do you still want to dress up? And I'm just like, yeah, I'll dress up. See you in class tomorrow. So I went to school dressed normally. And then I just threw the cow costume over my clothes with everyone sitting in the class where my teacher got there. And then my teacher walked in and I was just sitting on the chair, utters out, just being like, what's up, Mr. Gavin? How's it going?
Dude, you know what's crazy is that one of Pete's descendants, like 700 years from now, is going to do the same thing, except on this current thing, and he's going to wear a bat costume, and it's going to be the exact same story repeated.
I always made Xander drive me when I went costume shopping. There was multiple trips to Party City in the different costume stores for different things for student sections.
He hugged the cow at Chick-fil-A and said, "Hello, brother."
No. That's not what happened. I looked at him and I said, Dad? And then I ran and hugged him.
Oh my God.
I got so many coupons. It was great. I was having frozen lemonades for a week.
To be clear, they were giving out free little paper cow hats, and then that qualified you to get a free sandwich.
Hey, I don't half calf it.
Oh my dear God. Why did I join?
This has been a really good podcast.
Okay. All right. I am gonna come down and visit in two, so I'm just gonna to hit Pete with my Camaro.
Weirdly enough, for Halloween my senior year in high school, I was dressed as a deer, and someone tried to hit me in the parking lot.
Also me.
Xander, you have hit me multiple times with the car.
But you weren't dressed as anything.
No, which makes it even worse. Like, you could hit me as a joke and I dressed something. That's funny. I was biking up a hill and you hit me. And you dropped me off at lacrosse practice and didn't know I was getting my bag out of the back seat and drove. And then I yelled when the tire went over my foot. And then you stopped and went, "What's happening?" And I'm like, "You're stopped on my foot." To which he said, "No, I'm not." So there's just a car parked on my foot for a good 10 seconds.
Did you throw pocket change at the side of the car?
No, I did not. I do not use throw and change against my own car. That is specifically for Weston cars after football games and slow drivers.
You got to bring that energy for the ASU game.
No, I don't bring that energy to Arizona. You guys have guns, okay? I can do this in suburban Massachusetts, where the worst thing I'll get is a phone call from Tanner's mother. All right, you guys have guns, so I keep that energy, contained.
Bullets are just a different kind of throwing change. They're a little faster.
I don't have a response to that. Boys, anything else?
Watch the UFC this weekend. It's a legacy fight between Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic, and it's the trilogy, and it'll be DC's last fight ever. It's for the championship. This will be the third fight. They both won one, so this is the decider. Both some of the best fighters that there have ever been at this weight class. It's going to be a good fight. And then the co-main is Sugar Sean O'Malley, who's a skinny boy from Scottsdale, Arizona. So we rep him all day.
I love Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, he's insane at Muay Thai, and his BJJ is really good now too. So it'll be a good little fight card this weekend.
Oh, and Xander, while you're here, just letting you know that Dillon said I would destroy you in the octagon.
I said if we could keep him from the snacks. I also said I've never met you before, which is also true.
So Dillon, but now you've met him, so after this assessment, maybe not too.
Conversations before with him, I think.
All right, here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? I would help Pete, and anyone I help just succeeds. That's the fact of the matter. So,
Except for your fantasy team.
Well, it's really only I succeeded at what I wanted to succeed at, and that was beating Nat every time. So again, it's just what comes with Dillon Dubs, as they say. So I'm still going with Pete just because he's got my back, so I'll be in his corner.
Thank you, Dillon. Sean, anything before we go?
Nah.
That's a classic Sean response. Anyone who has spent time in our friend group knows that that's the most that Sean has said in 3 years. Xander, anything else before we go? That doesn't involve stupid coffee takes.
I could have some more insect takes, I think.
I'm Pete Sippis. This is Sip Talk. Thanks for listening.
Also, one more thing. Astros are 6-9. Screw them. And the Suns are 6-0. Let's go. All right. That's all.